Good morning, everyone. This is the first edition of our Grit and Grace podcast. Um, so I'm here in my living room, as you can see, with a cup of coffee. Um, our podcast really is going to focus on women who are doing extraordinary things in careers that are typically more male dominated. This isn't going to be a podcast where we're going to bash our men. It's not going to be a podcast where we bring negativity. We're really going to be focusing on the opportunities and the amazing things that women are doing in these spaces. Grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, have a seat, put this in your ear, and for the next few minutes, let's just be inspired and let's be celebrating these women and really just looking up to them and enjoying what they're doing in our communities and how they're making a difference and how they're changing entire industries and making them just so much better. I've already started lining up some really amazing guests for our podcast. So I'm so excited for you guys to stick around and to meet some of the incredible women that are currently doing amazing things. And this definitely is not going to be seamless transitions because I move too much and I shift and I shuffle and I have a little touch of ADHD. So I get distracted easily and lose my train of thought. So that'll be fun for you. It's like an adventure. And I promise you it won't always be this awkward. This first one is a little bit weird sitting in my living room, um, talking to myself, staring at myself on a camera. A little bit weird. Um, so bear with me while we get through these first couple of shows where the nerves kind of take over a little bit. I promise that we'll only grow from here, babe. I'm wearing my Blue Jays jersey today because they're going to win the AL East today. So, girls got to represent, and here we are. So, go Jays, go. We're hoping to air these every Tuesday. Um, I do have some really great guests lined up. I've already have some people that are booked. We're just in the planning stage of when they're going to be able to come over and film these. Um, I do intend on using video as well as the audio. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. I really love Spotify because that's the method I use to listen to all my podcasts. So I find that was the easiest transition for me. Same as YouTube. I had a YouTube channel before, more for my yoga and meditation side of things. But yeah, I was very familiar with YouTube, so I thought this would be a great venue for it as well. I'll introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Ashley Black. I work in automotive. So I work in sales in a dealership. I also do the internet sales and marketing, so a pretty big role. I've been at the dealership for 5 years this year, so I have a pretty good amount of knowledge on how things work. And have seen some really incredible things and been awarded some really amazing opportunities that I probably wouldn't have been awarded before just by working there. So far it's been so great, and so thankful to have the opportunity to provide for my family in this way and be a little bit more creative. I think that a lot of women might be scared to go into some of these roles just because of kind of the reputation that some of them have. Uh, I mean, when I first started in my industry, I was a little bit nervous because you hear so many crazy things and so many things that are exaggerated and not true. I'm not going to say everything's perfect and rainbows and roses, but I will say it's a lot better than I had anticipated going into it. I know from my background, I came from a nonprofit world. So I was a manager in a nonprofit world for a long time. And making the jump ship to the for-profit automotive world was a big adjustment for me. Um, but it also provided me with a way to provide for my family in a way that I couldn't have done in another role. It allowed us to have opportunities and to just be able to do some of the things that would have never been possible. So whenever somebody's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you do that for a job. It must be so awful." It's really not. Like, I have so much fun. I get to meet really great people. I get to do really fun things. I get to drive really cool cars. So, definitely not what everybody thinks it is. And it's a really good way to make income. When we're looking at a sales role, a lot of women in the past have tended to shy away from that, but in reality, we tend to do very well because we have the ability to connect with other people very naturally, and we're just a little bit more trustworthy out the gate. I know I've spoken to several companies from automotive to real estate to advertising, and the ability that women have to come in and to connect and to not make you feel suspicious or like this person just out to get me. It's really just a very genuine connection and a genuine ability to meet people where they're at and help them and help grow and foster all of the things that you need for growth and take care of their needs. And I think people are a little bit nervous, like, what if people are mean to me? What if they're not connecting with me? And I will say, for every one person who's not so nice, I meet like 100 people who are very nice. And sometimes not everybody's your cup of tea, and that's okay. Move on, carry on, give them to someone else. You can fire your customers. It's a really great thing. That's one of my favorite part of sales is if I'm not connecting with you, if I'm not serving you in the way that I need to serve you, maybe somebody else can. Maybe they can do it in a better way. Maybe they're what you need and I'm not. And it goes the same. Maybe you've gone in and you don't connect well with your salesperson, but you're like, I think I'd connect a little bit better with you. Absolutely, babe. Come over. We'll talk. We'll chat. We'll have coffee. I think it's important that we have more women in these spaces having these conversations. Because I know when I started, I was the only female on the sales floor, and now we have more females in these roles, more females doing great things in management, and it's always better. Like we just bring something to the table. We bring that compassion, that humanity, um, that real, creativity and joy, and we tend to bring that out even in the crankiest of people. And I really want young women to open their eyes and explore some of these non-traditional career routes. Um, maybe you would do amazing in sales. Maybe you would do amazing as a mechanic. Maybe you would do amazing in finance. I really want to encourage people to step into these spaces and to kind of claim their place because we belong here. I've really wanted to start podcasts for a long time. I have rolled around different thoughts. What's it going to be about? And none of them really felt like true to me until I kind of stumbled on this idea. And I've been rolling it around for probably about a month now. Reached out to some people and got some advice. And definitely got some advice on how to do it with a $0 budget because that's how we roll around here, baby. And just everybody I talked to was so excited about this. And they really felt that it was going to be a great podcast and it was going to showcase some really great things and some really great people. So if you or somebody you know would like to come on and chat, I will leave a link below, or you can send me an Instagram or Facebook message at the. I think one of the things that kind of made me a little bit nervous going into the more male dominated space is I am a very sensitive person. If you know me, you know that I cry probably 50 times a day. I am very sensitive. I get my feelings hurt. I hate rejection. And here I am in a sales role where I literally get rejected 95% of the time. Um, but I also feel that it's been a real catalyst for growth in the way that I've stepped into this role and really had to kind of navigate it a little bit differently and really use some aspects of my personality to my advantage. So I don't think being sensitive in this role is a disadvantage. I think it is very much an advantage because I'm very much able to anticipate the needs of my clients. I'm very much able to empathize with them, to sit with them in that space where they need help. Specifically, I love working with single moms. That's where my heart is at my work. I was a single mom. I was the one at the dealership who had no idea what she was doing, didn't know the questions to ask. And to be able to sit in that space now and be able to help these women navigate and help them be able to take something away that they can afford to drive, that will get them and their babies safely to and from work and school and play. It's just such an honor for me, and every time somebody trusts me with that, it just, oh, I love it so much. The other really great thing about this role is it has allowed me to be really more creative than I thought it was going to be. I've always been a creative person. I love to write, I love to journal, I love to express myself. And I mean, I do express myself very well all the time. Um, but I just love it. So in this role, I've been able to be so creative, kind of in the marketing side of things and making the creatives at work and just coming up with these ideas and these campaigns and being able to use my ability to see things a little bit differently to really grow myself, grow the brand, grow everything. And here we're not just going to focus on careers, we're going to focus on volunteering, we're going to focus on sports, we're going to focus on a whole lot of things that women are doing in these spaces just to kind of elevate everything and make it all that much better. And the things that they bring that are unique uh, to that feminine energy um, that just make things so much more wonderful. For example, we're going to have a volunteer firefighter coming on who's a woman who's navigating that space. We are going to have a female radio executive coming in. Um, of course, we'll have lots of people from the automotive world because that's the world that I come from and that's the world I know. And I see so many women who are doing so many amazing things in that space and making it so much better. And we just love that. This is really meant to be inspiring and to really get people to explore different career options. And I know I've said that a few times, but I really think it's important because when I was in school, I never heard of a woman going into car sales. I never heard of a woman really going into the IT or the automotive sectors. I never heard of women going into the trades. It was really, when I was in school, it was focused on academics, it was focused on nursing, it was focused on um, all these other trades and jobs that are wonderful, and we absolutely need women in these spaces and they do wonderful things there. But I really felt kind of boxed in, like what are my options, where are my skill sets going to lie best? And they weren't in the traditional roles. Like I did the traditional caregiver roles for a very long time. I started off in nursing homes, worked in nursing homes in my late teens and early 20s. I then moved into residential care with children and did that until I switched into car sales. I did yoga instructor. I've done a few different jobs, most of them considered more feminine oriented. Like most of my coworkers in all of those jobs were females. Of course, there was the occasional male who was there, but generally that area is really dominated by women. Um, and I mean, for good reason. It's very nurturing, it's very caring. Not that men don't have those capabilities, because they absolutely do. And I've worked with a lot of super amazing, caring men, but I don't think they're really encouraged to go into those spaces. Just like we're not really encouraged to go into the more male energy spaces. And it doesn't make any sense because just because I'm a female doesn't mean that I'm any less able to negotiate a deal or drive a vehicle or know the ins and outs of a truck. I've always been so lucky that trucks have been one of my biggest sellers because I love them so much. Like, I drive a Forerunner, we have a Tacoma. I'm obsessed with trucks. I grew up driving trucks. Um, And I love it when women come in and buy tracks. It's like, oh my God, girl, yes, please. And I just think that it's time that we step into these spaces and step into this energy and let ourselves be seen and let ourselves be heard, but keeping it uniquely feminine and keeping it a little bit different and working out of a different energy. And we see this a lot in some of the trainings that are very heavily done by men. So they're talking from their experience, which is great. But that necessarily won't work for me because I can't come from that space. I can't come from that energy because it's not natural to me so much. And I think that there are certain things that we do that are in these trainings that are maybe a little bit detrimental to our female representatives who can't kind of fit the mold. So I think that we need to start maybe having a little bit more of that female influence in these training spaces and allowing women to take the lead and be like, listen, this is what works for me. This is how I can generate more sales and I can connect with more people coming from this space of this feminine energy as opposed to the male energy that we are all very used to. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what career you're in, what position you're in. Your ability to do well is going to be with your ability to connect to other people and help them solve their problems, especially in a sales situation. That's all we're doing. We're connecting and we're problem solving. And if you are able to step in and do that better than the next guy, you're going to get the sale every single time. So, really, I think that's one of the most beautiful things about being a female in sales is we have that ability to step in and to connect very quickly. And we are good problem solvers, logical, analytical. Women make most of the big purchases in automotive. So even though it might be the husband who's coming in to do the negotiating, it's a woman who's standing behind the scenes because she's the one who's going to be driving that vehicle. She's the one who's going to be using it for the majority of the family things. um, there will be cats. I'm sorry. That cat specifically. It can't be helped. I did lock the dogs away because Bo Bear was barking at me the entire time. But you will be seeing fluffy animals. So, like I said, I've been kind of pondering about this podcast for a month or so. I mean, I've wanted to do a podcast forever, but this specific podcast, I've been kind of rolling it around and really thinking about how I was going to come in here and what energy I wanted to come in here with. And I think I decided pretty early on that I didn't want to come in with the energy of bashing our male counterparts. I think what they do on the male side is completely wonderful. I think that their energy is their energy, and that's great. And if that works for them, let it work for them. I really wanted to focus on what we can do as women in these spaces, how we can build, how we can grow, how can we make experience better for customers, how can we make experiences better for coworkers, how can we make experiences better for us, and how can we really celebrate stepping into our power and being into these spaces and just owning it, because I think that's important that once you've stepped into this space, you have to own it. You can't be here, you can't be uncertain. You really do have to kind of step into that energy and exude it. I also want you to always walk away from this podcast feeling like you've learned something, like you've been able to grow, maybe feel a little bit more inspired. It's definitely a space where I want to build a community so that we can celebrate each other's wins, because that's so important, that we're not sitting in this mean girl energy, that we're not. Worried that if I take this piece of pie that I'm taking from somebody else, there's more than enough to go around. There's more than enough energy for all of us to be here. And I really want to build that in a community and really just sit here and celebrate each other for all the great work we're doing. You can expect these podcasts to be probably 30-ish minutes in length. Like I said, I intend on releasing them every Tuesday, and I'm just so excited to meet all of these amazing women and to celebrate them and see where they're going, what they're going to do. I think it's going to be just so much fun, and I'm so excited for some of the women that I already have lined up that we're going to interview. I'm like, oh, I love it so much. It just fills me with so much joy. Obviously, I'm filming this from my living room, where I live with multiple dogs, multiple cats, multiple children, and a partner. So I would love to promise that this will be a soundproof environment all the time, but it will not be. There will probably be cats who make cameos and dogs who you will hear in the background because they're very upset that I've locked them downstairs while I do this podcast, mainly because my big black dog will not stop barking at everything as soon as he hears me talk. I don't know if he thinks I'm talking to my like somebody who's outside, but he's very unhappy. And again, I will say we are doing this with a less than $0 budget. So bear with me as I get accustomed to the editing and microphones and all of the things that I need to get adjusted to on my end. Um, It'll take a hot second, but I think once we get the hang of things and once we get things going, it's going to be so much fun. And I know when for me, like I like to listen back to some really popular podcasts, and I love it those first few seasons where it's just so raw and it's not polished and it's just real conversations with real people. So that's what I intend on bringing to this space. Real conversations, real people, real world environments where we have kids and pets and background noises. And I really want to hear from people. Please let me know, what do you want to hear? Who do you want to see on here? Is there a woman that's making a difference in your industry or in the city that I should have here? I think that's so important. Like, let's celebrate each other. Please send me in your requests, your referrals, and we'll try and get them on and really learn from these women in these spaces. I'm really excited to kick this off with some amazing guests, with some really amazing women, women who really inspire me. And I watch their journey on socials and in real life because some of them are people who I'm honored enough to call my friends. And I think you are going to enjoy it so much. And I know I'm going to have so much fun. So until next time, take care. Bye bye.